at 6:30. We're going to call this meeting to order. Our City Council member, January 18, 2022. We'll start it off with the Invocation and Pledge. You're welcome to join me in prayer. We are thankful for this past week that you've given us, especially with all the challenges with the snowstorm. Help us show our first responders how much they are appreciated. Give us ways to thank them for their sacrifices every day, and remember the words of Martin Luther King Jr. of life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Finally, may we be assured of your presence with us for the weeks to come. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, officially, good evening. Happy New Year. My eyes are been dilated. I'm just going to go ahead and fess up. I got my eyes dilated about 2.5 hours ago, so if I seem a little off, there's a reason. There's a reason. So I'm using that as an excuse. But with that said, we are very thankful to have our coach here. We're going to start off. He's not even on the agenda because we were trying to keep it as a secret. So very exciting. This past weekend, we had the celebration parade. John Fulmer, Bob Brookover, and myself were fortunate enough to ride in the parade way ahead of the coach and the team, the ones that should be recognized, but we appreciate the opportunity to be a part of it. It was a great event, great turnout, great celebration. So we would like to surprise you today. Would you like to come on up, Coach? So I'll put my mask back on. First of all, and we have a proclamation to do. But this is more important. You're going to be the first person, at least while we've all been on City Council. Now, John, I can't say for you. I don't know how many people have beyond.
This is one of the first I can remember having a recognition in chambers like this.
Okay. So this is the first key to the city that we're going to give to Coach Noonan for his great accomplishment. National Championship, you see, we're even putting out the towels. You know, we're representing, so we appreciate everything you've done. I love that I got to go there, but I know that everybody, a lot of people were there in North Carolina. It was a great event, and it was a great match, and we're very grateful for the success. But here's the key to the city. So, would you like to? And I'll take my mask back off, and if you want to, and then I'm going to read. Well, if you want to come up, I don't know if you want to say anything too. I don't know. And then if you want to, you can take off your mask if you want to come to the podium, but I'm going to read a proclamation too. So all right, if you're okay, I'm going to take off the mask. So this is a proclamation in recognition of achievement for the Clemson University Soccer 2021 National Champions. Whereas college athletics play an important role in developing civic pride and lifelong bonds between teammates and the community, whereas in 2021, the Clemson University Tigers soccer program was a united team in every sense of the word, with 30 highly skilled players, 7 outstanding coaches, led by Coach Noonan, whereas the hard work, dedication, and talent and sportsmanship exhibited throughout the season enabled these student athletes to win the 2021 Men's Soccer National Championship, whereas this victory marks Clemson's 3rd national title in soccer, with the others in 1984 and 1987, and the first under Coach Noonan. Whereas the Tigers defeated the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 9th overall seeds in the tournament on their run, whereas in the final game of the College Cup, the Tigers defeated the Washington Huskies 2-0. Now, therefore, I, Robert Halfaker, Mayor of the City of Clemson, of South Carolina, do hereby congratulate Coach Mike Noonan and the 2021 Clemson Tigers men's soccer team on bringing the 7th overall national championship to Clemson, and whereas whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the City of Clemson to be affixed this 18th day of January 2022. Congratulations. Can I come over? And can we get a picture around it? Okay. Class picture there.
I was just saying.
Yeah.
Cannot see Catherine.
Am I
So
blocking?
if y'all just stand where you are, and then Catherine, you step over a little bit towards this. A couple. 1, 2, 3. And one more.
Would you like to say anything? You don't have to. You don't have to, but here's the microphone.
I don't need the microphone.
Okay. All right.
I won't be as long-winded as the other football coach. But I do want to thank the mayor and the city council for this honor. It's a fantastic accomplishment that the young man just achieved up in Raleigh, North Carolina, or Cary, North Carolina. And more than anything else, the parade that y'all helped us put on is going to be something. Winning the championship is one dream come true, but the parade in the city and what came out to celebrate that with us is the second dream come true. I don't know how many of you know Miss Ibrahim, obviously, from town, but I got here 12 years ago, and her granddaughter was in a Christmas pageant with my youngest and 7-year-old. Now she's 18. And I was sitting next to Miss Ibrahim, and my wife's poking me in the ribs. So as her granddaughter finished her part of the performance, she got up and went out, and I followed her out in the lobby to introduce myself as a new soccer coach. And I told her, I said, Miss Ibrahim, we're here to honor your late husband's legacy and add to it. And we became very, very close friends, and she's been unbelievably supportive of the program. She's the matriarch who tells the history and the story of Clemson soccer. So after about a year of deep struggles, in our first couple of years were deep struggles to bring the program back, I said to her, and I didn't know whether this was ever going to happen, but she had the team out to her house, and we'd seen the nice cars in the garage. I said, Julie, if you ever win this darn thing, you and I don't care whether anybody else comes, but you and I are taking one of those Ferraris and we're going in a parade. Well, thank you to all of you for making that dream come true, and we'll look forward to getting back to work. We were supposed to start today. But we're getting back to work, day off tomorrow, and we'll be back to work on Thursday trying to put a 4-star in the Clemson soccer program, and something else that you all can be very proud of. And we're very proud to be here in Clemson and all that we can do for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last thing I will leave you with, because I see Professor Fran here, is that we actually had 28 in the end, players, on the roster. We set a record, 24 were on the honor roll.
Wow.
We had 5 4.0 students, of which 4 of those were starting players, who also were All-American, All-ACC players. And we also had a record 6 players drafted in the MLS draft. So success follows success, the academic success. Thank you for all you do as well. Thank you for tonight, I'm honored.
Thank you,
And
Dan.
I can't wait to go back and show my staff that I can do it.
That's right. Thank you again. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming.
This is Alicia. I was just trying to say congratulations if you all can hear me. I couldn't be there in person, but congratulations, Coach Noonan, and to the men's soccer team on winning the national championship. Really excited about that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it again.
Thank you all.
All right. Next, we're going to do oath of office, or offices, I guess, or office. So, Chief, you're going to take the lead. Yes, sir.
Stand over there. Okay. I present to you 2 of our newest officers. First, we have Officer Skylar Singletary, has been an officer for 3 years, beginning her career at the Clemson University Police Department. She's originally from Tampa, Florida, but grew up in Houston, Texas, where she attended the University of Houston to receive her bachelor's in business management. While an officer at Clemson University, she attended classes at
Clemson University and got her master's in public administration. Outside of work, Officer Singletary enjoys spending time with her family, traveling, and spending time on the lake. She didn't specify which lake. But she is excited to continue her career here at the City of Clemson, and she has hit the ground running with us with her experience, and we greatly appreciate that. She's actually working tonight, so she came in a little early for her swearing in. Standing to her left is Tanner Johnson, right? Okay. Tanner was born and raised in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. He moved to Walhalla, South Carolina, his junior year of high school and graduated from Walhalla High School. He went to Clemson University and majored in criminal justice and graduated from Clemson University in May of 2021. And shortly after graduating, he put an application in. We hired him, put him through the academy, and he's finished his FTO and is now solo on the road. So I have both the oath of office and then the law enforcement code of ethics. So I have a Bible here if you want to hold the Bible. If you don't, that's fine. What do you want to do? At the same time, but you have to raise your right hand. So figures, there you go. All right. So you raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I'm duly qualified according to the Constitution of the state to exercise the duties of the office to which I have been appointed, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duties thereof and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and of the United States, so help me God. Is that true? Okay. You can hand me the Bible.
We thought you were too.
I was like getting nervous.
You know, all the bad things everybody at work says about me is not that bad. All right. So the next is the Code of Ethics. I'm going to read it to you, and at the end, hopefully you will agree. If not, we need to talk. Okay. Are you ready? As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, and will behave in a manner which does not bring discredit to me or my agency. I will remain courageous, calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the law and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with the relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of police service. I will never engage in acts of bribery, nor will I condone such acts by other police officers. I will cooperate with all legally authorized agents and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. I know that I alone am responsible for my own standard of professional performance and will take every opportunity to enhance and improve my level of knowledge and competence. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Do you agree with these statements? Thank you. Mayor, I'll just also point out, I said earlier, Officer Singletary is going to work tonight, but Officer Tanner was here over the weekend during the storm and was very helpful in many of the aspects that went on downtown, to include trying to control some of the activities that were going on in town during that time. But he was very busy, made a DUI arrest, didn't you? Right, so was very busy that night. So that's it for the swearing in. I think pictures? Okay.
Chief, you okay? We all
Sure.
get behind it. Okay.
We can take it and pass it off. I'm in the middle.
Seems like it makes sense. Thank you.
Once again, Miss Alicia, congratulations.
Alicia, we'll figure out how to Photoshop you into the pictures later.
I figure we can be creative.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Before we go into public session, I just wanted to introduce somebody real quickly. Adam, get to come up real quickly. We're fortunate to have an exchange, well, actually visiting Adam's family, an exchange student from Italy, and I thought you could come and introduce her. Am I right in saying
Yes,
Italy?
yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Blondell, good to see you. My name's Adam Artiglair. I know many of y'all. I live at 208 Riggs Drive. We've got an addition to our family. This is Elisa Bianchini, and Elisa is attending Daniel High School right now. She will be here through May. She comes from the very large town, actually it's a very small town of Frata, Italy, which is near Rimini, which is on the Adriatic coast. So if you're thinking of the boot, it's right on the back calf. And so just south of Venice. Elisa Ellie is a very impressive young lady, and is a great addition to Daniel and to our community. I appreciate everybody's welcome so far. I want to tell one quick story. They were giving the foreign language test at Daniel the other day, about a week ago, and the teacher was having a tough time communicating with one of the Spanish-speaking students who only spoke Spanish, and Elisa actually stepped in and translated between the teacher, so from English to Italian to Spanish, from Spanish to Italian to English, for the test to get it done. She's studying to be a doctor, a medical doctor, when she gets back to Italy. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Adam. Glad you're here. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
All right, now we will go back to public session. Councilmember Smith, from afar, I see you on TV, so I'll let you take the lead. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. We have to stop meeting like this, but unavoidable sometimes. And welcome to, I couldn't hear her name, but the exchange student from Italy, so that's wonderful that she's here. I wanted to give this opportunity for members of our community to make a public comment during this time. If anything that's not already on the agenda, you will have 3 minutes to make your comment, and we ask that you keep it to the limit of 3 minutes so that others can have an opportunity to speak as well. For those who may want to call in, you can call in at 653-9886 and make your public comment at that time. I do have 2 comments that I will read. If there are no other comments from the public, I can't see who's in the audience, but if anyone would like to come up and speak, you would give your name and your address, and then I believe you have to sign your name and address that's at the podium. So at this time, if anybody would like to come up and speak, this is your opportunity. We welcome you. You all have to be my eyes. There is anyone coming up at all?
There is no one at this time. So if you want to read
All right.
the public comments that were submitted, that's great.
Okay, I'll read the first one. This came from Elizabeth Boyd. As you approach discussions with and final decisions about design strategies consulting, I would like to offer some input as a Clemson resident and a member of the public. There have been comments circulating to the effect that the public is not engaged in this process. That is patently incorrect. The public has been engaged in these city problems for the better part of the last decade and has repeatedly made its opinions clear on the state of the city. There has been overwhelming sentiment that there should be no more high-density student housing near downtown. There is no demonstrable need. Inquiries to housing development to bear this out, and most of the previous projects have been approved not based on planning, but to accommodate developer demands. The city has had to bear a substantial portion of infrastructure costs while adding nothing of value to the life of the Clemson community. In short, a poor relationship with the university and bowing to the pressures of developers has put us in the position where we find ourselves. Design Strategies vision appears to me is to sell once again the idea of student housing with a mixed-use component. When the Duke Center project was first proposed, we were promised that there would be a restaurant, doctor's offices, etc. None of this has been realized. This has been the marketing strategy of almost all projects to come before the city. Attract support through promising amenities that never materialize. Yet once again, we have been asked to place our faith in a concept where developers will act in good conscience to create something that the public finds desirable. What is most problematic is that Design Strategies apparently never visited Clemson before presenting their results and has little feel for what the Clemson community is. Instead, the pictures shown are the same types of soulless designs that have popped up in other growing cities. Moreover, they have stated in conversations that the data upon which they relied was culled from the university and not assembled independently. While developers have a right to develop, the city has a right to form a vision for its residents. One possible solution would be to put a 3-story cap on development and limit it to commercial only. What Clemson desperately needs is more commercial options, optimally high-end options. The idea that residents will do business in what are tantamount to student dorms is misguided. Most Clemson residents are well-intentioned when they sign petitions, speak before council, and make their voices heard. We have spoken many times. We don't need to do this again. By this point, council should have a clear idea of the problems we face and the remedies that are at hand to address the problems. I encourage each of you to review carefully what Design Strategies has proposed and to ask yourselves if there's not a path forward that adheres to what Clemson has always been and hopes to be. This is one of our very last opportunities to help shape the future of Clemson. Thank you. Elizabeth Voigt, 201 Martin Street. And my last one is, it's related to the mask ordinance. South Carolina is seeing the highest COVID-related pediatric hospitalization since the beginning of the pandemic. Please reintroduce school mask mandate. You cannot stop the pandemic, but you can slow the community spread and protect the vulnerable community members. And this is from, I'm going to spell her name because I don't necessarily know how to say her name, but it's T-S-Y-K-A-L-O-V-A. Last name is L-Y-U-D-M-Y-L-A. And I believe she's spoken to City Council before. Those are the two statements that I have.
You want to close out public session? You want me to?
Yes, we can go ahead and close out public session at this point.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for doing that remotely. I know it's more of a challenge, so we greatly appreciate it. The next item is approval of minutes for January 3rd, 2022. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Make a motion. Move that we approve the minutes of January 3rd as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. And I see online too. Thank you, thank you. All right. Next, we'll go into reports and discussion agenda. the first report, but before we do this, on all our reports, just a reminder that we do try to limit all reports, discussion, agenda items to 10 minutes or less. So we greatly appreciate the time, but also we have attachments to the reports as well for additional information, but just wanted to reiterate the 10 minutes or less. But first is to receive a report for the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee Chair, Kerry Carson, and Jay, are you going to introduce, or are we just going straight in? Okay, we're going straight in. All right. Thank you, Kerry, for being here.
Hello, City Council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having us here. I am here on behalf of the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee to give our report from our activities and the department activities from 2021. My presentation will be 3 parts. First will be the department activities, accomplishments from 2021. The second part will be the advisory committee activities, and also the last part will be our recommendations to City Council. First of all, we want to celebrate our department. Our staff does a phenomenal job of offering programming. I know you all know that, but I just want to commend all the activities they've done this year. So first, we had 2,405 participants in our programs. So thank you to Jay Bennett and to Shannon Knight for offering wonderful programs for residents and community members beyond Clemson of all ages. We were able to offer programming to thousands of participants. Lindsey Watley organizes 14 plus special programs and events throughout the year for all different ages, and they're an asset to our community. For me personally, our family, we mark the passage of our seasons by going to the events here. Tony Tidwell and the landscaping grounds crew does an amazing job as well. They picked up 773 pounds of litter just in October and November of 2021. So there's a lot of work that they do. They also gave away 300 trees as part of the Bradford Pear Bounty in March. Also, they're giving away trees right now, so you can register. It's part of a treeupstate.org. If you'd like to register for a free tree, you can do that. You can find out information on the Parks and Recreation page on Facebook or Instagram. We added one new city park, which is 12-mile recreation area. As a member of the committee, it was impressive to see how the city administrator, city council, departments across the city came together to take on the transition of owning the park and making it run. It was a lot of work on everyone's behalf. We had 5 new park amenities. In Clemson Park, we added a walking loop. Ashley Deering, we got a new scoreboard. Shanklin Sands, we had a work day with the Boy Scout troop to make a clear nature trail with benches and picnic tables, so it's a great place to go spend the afternoon. And at Mountain View Park, there was a new trail cleared, and also there was trail restoration work from the damage that was done from the tornado. We have 5 new Friends of the Park groups. We started this new program this year. Tony Tidwell organized, and the mayor and other people, to organize groups of community members who adopt a park and adopt a project at a park. And so Boy Scout Troop 235, Clemson University Sigma Phi fraternity did cleanups at 12-mile rec area every Sunday. The University Lutheran Church is taking care of a garden area, I believe, at Shanklin Sam's. The Vineyard community does a cleanup area at Gateway Park. The Green Crescent Trail has done some cleanup efforts at Clemson Park. And so that's another thing we've been involved with. The department, we had 2 new Parks and Rec staff members. Shannon Knight has hit the ground running as the athletic director, and Patrick Wilson is our new staff member at 12-mile recreation area. And we had 1 Nettles expansion plan completed, thanks to your help, thanks to the community input, thanks to the committee and the department. It's a big project, and it's ongoing work, as we all know. And the last thing I want to celebrate is that we were named number one athletic department of the year. Yes, for our class. And this is the 3rd time in the last 4 years that we've won this award. So they do fantastic jobs. We are very, very blessed to have such staff that is committed to excellence and really care and passionate about their job. So thank you, Jay, and the department. Now, with our advisory committee, at the beginning part of the year, we were trying to figure out what our role was since we were reinstituted last year. But the very first thing that we accomplished in 2021, thanks to your work, it was a combined effort of the committee, the department staff, and also the police chief, and your work that we passed the park hours ordinance. All the signs for park hours have been posted in all the parks. Another duty of the advisory committee is to help with partnerships and volunteerism. Every single member of the committee has done volunteer work throughout throughout the year, and two of the members, Lauren Duffy and Lauren Stevens, have done some partnerships with the university to connect with some professors, so that a class was dedicated to help generate ideas for a master plan for 12 Mile Park. Also, some of the committee members were involved with organizing some of the Friends of the Parks groups. We also did a lot of input on park planning. As you know, the Nettles, Kimley Horn Nettles Park, I don't need to reiterate, we participated in that with you and all of the community input. We also followed through on the plans from Clemson Park that we talked to you last year. And then we've also been involved with reviewing the policies. We reviewed the COVID-19 protocols, we looked at dog registration in parks, and we also looked at the use of parks and green spaces and planned developments. And so now for our recommendations. Our first recommendation, as we talked about the last time I was here in May, was the need for a parks master plan. It's hard to do our work as a committee not having a guiding vision, goals, mission, or even a sense of our larger park system. So the Parks Master Plan is one of our first recommendations. So the next slide, please. As part of this, there's 5 different facets that we would like to be involved, or like to be considered, different components of the new master plan. First, we would like it to help us develop the values, mission, and goals and strategies of the department that are melded with the city's comprehensive plan and, of course, the city's mission and vision. And we would like another component to look at the cost feasibility analysis, to do a review of pricing to make sure we have the fair and best prices for our residents that will help us plan for our growth and also help us understand the true cost of activity. We would also like to do a needs assessment. This is an ongoing thing that would be helpful for the department to know what the community needs are. So that's an ongoing process needs to happen. One thing that we really need to encourage is that non-participants, people that aren't currently participating, that we hear from them and see what needs we can serve for them in the department. Another component of an ideal master plan is to help us do a cross-park system-wide resource audit so we can see what facilities we have, who's served by the amenities, what growth opportunities we have, and what constraints we have to help us guide our actions moving forward. We'd also like a consistent evaluation system to help us evaluate all of our activities, athletics, programs, events, so that it's consistent across all of our programs. And finally, looking at all the master plan to make sure that our organizational structure meets the needs that this park plan is putting forward. We do have members of our committee that have expressed concerns. We're afraid that doing this is going to paralyze things. We also worry that it's going to be too much money, and also worry that the public's not going to give input. They've done all this Nettles Park. They've done so many other input things for the city. So whenever we hire this company, who's ever going to do this, we need to make sure that they take in mind how they're going to address the public and the expenses that we can handle in city and what we need someone else to take care of. Our next recommendation is Clemson Park. First of all, we want to thank you for support of Clemson Park. The walking track was completed in 2021, and as you've noticed, there's some mud on the trail there, so they're working on the stormwater level spreader to avoid that issue. And there's a pump track that's going to be installed in March, assuming the weather cooperates. So that will be a wonderful amenity, and we'll get a lot of life and vitality and people at the parks. And so with that, the park is going to be needing some beautification. Unfortunately, there's been some vandalism there. I don't know if you've seen it, but we need some loving on the structure there. We need to give it a little bit of face paint. Unfortunately, there's been some vandalism. And so that's a need there at Clemson Park. And then seeing how the park develops, look at it, see what's still needed there. So keep moving forward. And if it's that's all we need, we'll keep on monitoring the progress. And our next recommendation is for facilities and equipment. That's all right. I think it's the next one. All right. Personnel for program director. Lindsey Watley does a phenomenal job. She hosts 14 plus events, is tapped for a lot of city events. She could use some help. If she had an assistant, she could offer more programming for groups that aren't served, like teens or preteens. She could also have someone to help coordinate all the volunteers in the department, and also the person could serve as a summer camp director, sorry. Every year she has to rehire someone and retrain someone. So if we could have someone consistent that could do that every year, it would be really helpful. Our other personnel recommendation is our city horticulturalist. Tony Tidwell does a phenomenal job. I know you've all seen his work around the city. The job that he does, all the work that he does doesn't exactly fit the horticulturalist. He is out trimming all the trees and watching the tree canopy, but he's also doing beyond that. He's looking at planning for our parks. He's been doing a lot of policy work for our parks. He helped us with the parks and plan developments. And so the work that he does in the facility management goes beyond just a horticulturalist. So we recommend that you look at that position, his position, and see, just to evaluate that. The next recommendation is kind of an urgent recommendation. I know in the Nettles Park plan was the request for an indoor facility. Every summer we offer Camp Clemson for hundreds of families. Well, last year was 100 because of COVID, but it's an important resource for our community, but we don't have a location. In the past, it's been at Clemson Elementary. Last summer, it was at Edwards Elementary, and Lindsey still hasn't gotten confirmation from Clemson Elementary. There's so many factors, they don't know that they can promise the facility. So we need a place to offer this camp. So any help that you could offer the department to give a more permanent home would be appreciated. Also, since there's not an indoor facility, we don't have anywhere to store supplies, so Lindsey has to rebuy supplies every year for summer camp and for public events. So if we had a more mobile storage trailer, she could store things there and you could take it to events, and it could, she's got some great ideas for that. And our last recommendation with the Nettles Park Expansion Master Plan, from the last meeting, everyone expressed the concern that we've put so much time and energy into the Nettles Park Expansion Master Plan, we don't want it to skid to a halt. So we'd like to move forward and do some things. You all asked me what my recommendations were for the first phase, and I didn't want to give my personal recommendations without consulting the committee. So I've submitted to all of you each person's comments on what they think the first recommendations should be. One urgent need that we have is parking. If you've been there on an activity night, there's nowhere to park. So that needs to be addressed. Another issue is trails. Trails were #1 in the public surveys of things that people wanted. So if we could spend a small amount of money and improve those natural trails to make them more usable, that would be an easy first step. And the dog park, as you've known, it's been flooded and underwater, so it's been unusable. So if we could find some way to address the dog park, those are just 3 ideas that the committee put out there. There's many more needs, but those were some, trying to find the low cost but high value amenities that could be implemented sooner than later. Moving forward, it's important to look at Nettles Park to see what can't be replicated in other locations. So that will really guide what's going to go there. And the Parks Master Plan will help us make the decision. If we're going to put more amenities in the back, we really need to consider that infrastructure road. And finally, the last recommendation, which I know you've thought about, is a funding plan. But if we have, look at grant writing, if we had an easier path for individuals, community groups, legacy donations, if there was a more streamlined process perhaps, and other creative strategies, which I know you're already thinking about. So those are recommendations. It's been a busy, productive year for Parks and Recreation. As you all know, Parks and Rec make the quality of life that we like here in Clemson, the sense of community. And so thank you for your support of Parks and Rec. Thank you, Carrie.
Carrie, as far as Camp Clemson, how many kids does that entail, roughly?
Jay. Last year was different because of the last 2 years have been different because of COVID.
Sure. Between 200 and 250, but Lindsey has a new plan that we're going to unveil to the advisory committee next week to include arts, specialty camps, where they can do half day at camp and then do something else in the afternoons.
Would we have to transport them?
Sorry?
We'd have to transport them?
We've already worked with Cat Bus on that.
Okay.
So,
All right, then the ages.
It's kindergarten through
12.
K through 12.
Age 12.
not
Age 12, yeah.
age 12.
Age 12.
5 through age 12.
Okay,
They
I'm
have
sorry.
a counselor and training program so the older kids can work as counselors,
Right.
assistant counselors. Which is
Okay,
good.
and then, because that was another question, but, okay. Oh, yeah, the hours.
from 8 till 5.
It's a great camp.
But does it have to be inside?
Well, not all of it is. They do inside activities along with outside activities. The new plan will include, like I say, sports camps outside half a day. And then you can choose either 2 camps, a Camp Clemson all day, or a variety, how
Okay, so
you'll do it. That will allow us to include a lot more with children also.
Okay.
So what's the?
Well, no, I get it.
Piggyback. What's the latest with Clemson Elementary time frame wise?
Well, we talked with Ms. Craddock and Josh Young last week, and they said, give us a couple of weeks to make a decision. So, I mean, we're supposed to get the information out February the 1st and sign up March 1. So, we're sort of in it.
They said they'll let us know around spring break time.
So, getting back,
What's the holdup? Have they indicated what the holdup is?
We'll reach out.
Is it, it's,
Perhaps, like,
that's what they said.
last year was the HR.
Right, yeah.
They said with COVID protocols, people in the building and things.
Right.
In Oconee County, just to make sure, they're still doing their Y camps in the schools, right?
Oh, okay, yes.
what is the rec center? I mean, I'm assuming it's not available in the summer.
They go there swimming,
Okay.
and then we do have use of the new court for activities also.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Questions? I just want to commend both of y'all, being the leaders. Jay, for everything that you do on the employee side, and keeping everybody with a very small group and do so many things, and Carrie for the volunteer aspect of all your committee. We know how much time you put in. The work shows. I mean, I think I can speak for everybody here on council about how much you've shown your commitment, your love of the community, and the quality of life, and it shows. And we need to do our part to make sure we continue this moving forward. So, I will speak up for that. And I won't speak up for everybody. I assume that.
Let me just get another question about this facility. So I assume that the facility would also have to have close access to open space. So it's not just a building, it's a building that's adjacent to
Yes, sir.
fields and areas to play, right? Which
Yes,
is
sir.
part of the problem. Have you, any conversation with Clemson University at all about any of their space? Anyone approached them, talked to them?
We haven't yet.
But it would have to be outdoor space that's
Yes, sir.
right there, right?
Yes, sir.
And I assume there were conversations with churches at this time.
Clemson Methodist, with Clemson Park next door, let's be creative, but let's also remember, let the school know that we're the same taxpayers that pay that bill as well. So, we should get a timely answer. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I'll be glad to do that if you want help with that. But obviously,
we'll rally.
let's do that.
Thank you for bringing that information. We'll
appreciate it.
We'll follow up with
You
Josh.
guys,
And
don't know if you remember or not, but you guys actually helped pay for that gym.
Yeah.
To be
I was going to say.
yeah, okay. So that
One more thing. This was the second year of the revitalization of the advisory. And Carrie has done a great job in the second year. Our first, with Chairman Bill Caraway, was also did a great job also. So we've been very fortunate for 2 years to have great chairman and great committee members also.
well said. Well, thank y'all both. Thank y'all so much. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My afraid that was longer than 10 moves.
You're good. You're good. We have, we say that, we're just trying to keep things as efficient as I think.
30 minutes.
Yeah, you did a great job. Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next item is Councilmember Smith. I'll let you just take the lead if you're available.
I am available. Thank you again. So hopefully some of the members of the Rotary is in the chambers, but we're hosting our Rotary Club, Sunrise, Clemson Sunrise Rotary Club is hosting the first annual Cupid Shuffle 5K run and walk, and it's something that we feel is very important to host here in the city of Clemson. Our plan is to have it on February 12th, 2022, and the route, as you may be aware of, would mostly be down Highway 93, going, I believe, leaving from near the First Citizens Bank right there, Gateway Park, and then headed down towards Little John Community Center, coming back around. We want to expose people to Rotary Park, let them know Rotary Park is back there as well. And so it's just a great opportunity to promote healthy exercise, just wellness for the community, our whole community. And so this is open to all ages, possibly. We want people to enjoy it at time. And we chose February because, you know, Valentine's Day, what are you doing? The Cupid Shuffle is a great way to get people engaged, and also Heart Awareness Month. So we just want to encourage people to be a part of that. And the reason I'm bringing it to City Council is because we're wanting to partner with the city and talk to you all about the possibly seeing if this something that the city would be willing to fund as a first-time event, because it's a first-time event in the city of Clemson at this level, and we want it to be an annual event. So there will be awards presented. Like I said, we'll have some refreshments, just a great chance to get out and exercise and just be healthy and do it in a fun way. So, and for those who don't know what the Cupid Shuffle is, it is a dance that we would like people to engage in. We're thinking about possibly doing right before the race, but anyway, it's a great way to just lighten the mood. And so, I don't know if Chris or Jackie are there. If you have questions specific to some of the planning that we've done already, the registration is open. Registration is open for members or individuals to sign up. So we also want to ensure that people who want to participate and may not be able to afford the fee, that we can assist them. So some of us are donating so that we can help those who cannot afford that fee but want to participate. So it's just an all-around effort to enhance the lifestyles of our community.
And I'll just add to fill you in, there are three from the local Rotary Club. I'm looking 3. Did I miss anything?
Okay.
3, Chris? Yeah, I see 3. So there are 3 here.
So is it Jackie or anyone else would like to come and make any statements to City Council? I'm sure I left out quite a bit, but
Yeah.
I want to give credit to Chris and Jackie, who is, hopefully if she's there, she said she would be coming, but she's done a lot of work in this effort, and it actually was her brainchild that brought this to fruition, and so really thankful for her work.
Yeah, I'm here. Chris Furniture, 331 Woodland Way, and the current president of the Clemson Sunrise Rotary Club. Here to just ask you to see favorably upon this request. We consider ourselves deeply integrated and good stewards of anything that the city may put forth. This is the inaugural event, but the goal is to make it an annual event, and a success out of the gate will allow us to be able to do that. We're a relatively modest-sized club, but we pride ourselves on being busy bees. We're kind of roll up our sleeves, get work done, and Jackie is chairing our planning committee. It was her idea she brought to the board of the club, and everybody thought it was a terrific idea. What I will say is it's my understanding that this grant is a one-time thing for a new event, and as evidence of our plans to look forward in our budgeting, we'd like to see where we are beyond this grant. We have several businesses that are also sponsoring and helping to support it already on board, but we're trying to put ourselves in a fiscal position so that even without the city's support next year, we can continue forward and let this be something to grow. Those of you on the committee know when I was running as a candidate, tourism and growth of tourism is one of the things I think is underserved for our community, so that's why I think it's terrifically beneficial. It's, I don't necessarily think we're going to have people staying in hotels the first year round, but it could easily grow into that kind of event. If you have logistical questions, I think Jackie's going to have a better point of reference than I will. I simply wanted to encourage your support.
So is registration open for this?
Yes.
And how many registrations do you know?
Currently, as of today, we have 53. We have them from Anderson, Easley, Seneca, from everywhere. Some are students, so.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just didn't know. 53 is wonderful.
Yeah, we're hoping at least to get 150, but first time, we never know.
Yeah, that's true.
And echoing what Councilman Smith said, we already have some scholarship, for lack of a better description, in place, people that are sponsoring runners. I know we've gotten a agreement from the Daniel High School cheer squad is going to come. I'm not sure if they're just going to come and cheer and provide exuberance or whether they may.
As of right now, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I have a daughter that's on that team.
Yeah, but we want to make it accessible. We were partnering with, I can't remember the gal who was working with the special needs children.
We're
Ainsley's Angels.
Ainsley's Angels. We're trying to be all inclusive, and they are a group that has disabled children and adults. They have special wheelchairs for them, and then you get runners to push them through the races, and they do races all over the United States. Also, we have one person that's involved with that group that has asked if they can do the hand cycle. So we've already got them committed to come and run in the race.
And the last bit of evidence I'll give you as complete buy-in is yours truly is going to dress up as Cupid that day. So,
There you go.
So maybe you shouldn't have said that.
My comments I was about to make, I'm totally rethinking.
John.
No, I think.
And this was, I was going to say, Felicia, I've shared the information because our students weren't back yet, but I have started sharing it with different organizations on campus as well as employees, and so I've gotten a lot of positive feedback of individuals who definitely want to participate. So hopefully we'll start to see more and more people register for the race. Sorry, John, you can go ahead.
That's all right. So, I mean, to me, I think sports tourism is something that our city should support. That's something we've had success with in the past, and we naturally, with our name and relationship with the university, lend ourselves to that a lot, even as a separate city function. The route, Alicia mentioned this, you expose yourself to two city parks. One parks have been a big theme of conversation, and we talk about how a lot of people don't even notice Gateway Park or Rotary Park, so what better way to bring people by Little John. So I think you do have a lot of opportunity. I'm not a runner unless somebody's chasing me, and I'm unarmed. But I think what's that? It is a pretty good. Well, my point is, I think this is a fast-looking track. It looks like it's an appealing track. It's got a lot of. It's got room to grow with the highway in there, I think. And this money has been set aside for years, and Andy could probably tell better than I can. But there's a lot of years it goes unused. And to give y'all an example, Miss Clemson team, that got as ours as we funded that out of this pool of money. And we've had, 3 Miss South Carolinas in the last 6 years, I believe, a runner-up in Miss America. So I say that if used appropriately, these funds have an opportunity to grow. If they can help establish a date for an event that this club can sustain going forward, and then kind of put that marker out there like they did, to me, it's money we shouldn't leave on the table many years. but then to bring this to us and we're over halfway through the fiscal year, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer to
So
look at
I
that.
may have missed this, but, so how much is the request and what is it for? And I will volunteer to walk as fast as I can and chase John for the whole fund.
Oh, I was going to actually, I wanted to see Fran would do the Cupid shuffle, actually.
So, but the amount of the request and an idea of what the money was for?
I'll be honest, Alicia, as a club member, has also taken care of that. I believe, do I want to say it's 4,500 or is that?
Well, what the request was based off of this being a first-time event, so it would help. The funding is really geared towards helping with working with initially local, making sure that we had funding for overtime for our police officers, and ensuring that that was covered. Also, the cost of different supplies, cones, and other items that need to be part of the race. I think the cost to secure the race or certify the race, so there are a number of costs associated with it. And so we didn't actually have a specific request that we were asking. I know that there was, the funding is up to about $10,000, and so we were thinking between, I believe we said about 7,500, but I don't think we said 4,500 for it. But if it just depends on what city council would be willing to provide.
I think as a club, one of our goals that we were looking at is we understood there is going to be some additional police expense with officers that will have to man the race and a monitor. We did get formal DOT approval of the route, yes? Yeah, so we are approved to be able to do it. So we want to at least be able to cover those expenses. There are other expenses with the timing company that's coming in and that sort of thing. Certainly, the proceeds that we raise go to other nonprofits in the area. That's all we do with them. We're not asking the city to do anything that would be beyond what our actual out-of-pocket expense is. Sorry that I don't have that number in my head. I probably should have had that for you.
I believe the cost of the cones, the protective cones, is involved in this grant request.
Yeah.
But those aren't things that we already have as a city that we can put out there?
We do. We need a lot more.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have a rough idea on the cost on what those were? I know y'all did some research on that.
It's more than just cones. The cones that we have will not do the whole route. We have to cone off one lane, the route we're talking, and the cones we have will barely get us past 123. It's also directional signs for traffic that is flowing in the same direction to move them over into lanes. So if you can imagine a construction zone that you're going through, very similar coning and traffic control devices. And as a matter of fact, DOT approved it based on that plan to cone everything off. So the quote that we got from the company that we have to rent them from, which does not just renting them, but they're setting them up and taking them down, I believe was $3,800, if I remember correctly, just for that process. And then I think also I asked for speed limit signs to drop the speed limit for that same lane that they're sharing for the run to even a lower speed than what is posted temporarily. Does that answer everybody's question?
I guess I should bring the one in my yard back to you, is what you're saying. I have one in my yard. I have a traffic cone in my yard. Yeah, I probably should bring one too. It's left over from the tornado.
Were you holding an SO sign too, tornado?
I just heard we're renting it, but if these events, we hope to have more of these in the future, might want to look into seeing about purchasing them as opposed to renting, but that's just me thinking.
Well, the good thing about this too is, I mean, they're putting them out and taking them up.
Right, I get it.
That's a huge piece of it right there.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm just saying, just keep
That's a big expense to have local races like this have to absorb every time. And, you know, it's nice that we have this money sitting here at the moment for this event. But we're not going to always have that. You know, I think there's some things, I'm all for local events, but again, this is coming out of accommodations tax, ideas, heads in beds. You know, the race would have to get pretty big, you know, over years to really, you know, justify it on accommodations tax basis. So, you know, I think we need to think about that stuff. If we are going to have race courses in the city, it might be worth, you know, over time when that cost is split out across 25 or 30 races over the next 5 years, it might be better for us to consider purchasing it and charging that to the races as we go ourselves.
We want to get a trailer,
Yeah.
we're looking at this year, to put tables and chairs and cones and just mobile event sites in the trailer.
Yeah.
We thought that'd be a lot easier after we did the fall and spring events downtown and then Patrick Square. Both Lindseys are asking for an event, a mobile event trailer.
Can I move that we do that?
I don't think we can do
That's
that.
discussion.
Oh,
So they have to come back as an agenda. item.
We'd have to add it to.
Okay.
But it sounds like it was 3,800, they know their club has mentioned 45, that would help with some of the
We need to know,
shortfall,
right.
overtime they need to pay for police, I'd be comfortable hearing that. But I think Bob's point's a good one for future conversation, not necessarily embedded in this, but to look at.
I'm personally okay with the $4,500 number total. $10,000, I've organized 5K races many times over the years. $10,000 is a lot of money, you know, the full 10,000. So, you know, 4,500, that's, you know, good rate to put you all in a position to be successful and hopefully have some money left over to give to the nonprofits in town. I think that's good. And, you know, I think the things that you were talking about, like timing, you know, and some of those, you know, other expenses like that are, you know, few $5 per runner kind of thing, are perfectly good expenses. So if y'all could, when you bring this forward as an agenda item, if you could just outline a couple of those expenses that we would be covering, and if we can get a little more information about just the break-even points on the company doing the cones and those kind of things. And if we did it in-house with the idea that we want more of this stuff in town, that over time, $3,800 a pop doesn't take very long to get to the point where that doesn't work.
And that's one of the
Just simple.
Yeah, separate, but yeah.
Just say that Edie and I have had ongoing conversations about this, message board, structural signs, those types of things, and we talked about it in the budget, so that's in our plan long term. It's just, we don't, for this event coming up, we don't have it on hand to do it, so we have to rent it, so.
Any other comments, discussion? Sounds like everybody is in support. So we will. One last, I'm going to look at a logistical. Can we add to the bottom, or do we need to wait till February 7th?
You would
That
have,
was my
like,
question.
this would have to go to February 7th.
Okay. So from a timing perspective, you see that you're hearing support from City Council.
But your bills won't come in until then.
Yeah. So just wanted to reassure you. Okay.
Make that planning to do it without us more exciting for you along the way.
Exactly.
Until February 7th.
Okay.
And I know we need hard numbers, so I'll make sure we have that.
Just give us some, for examples, like what, you know, kind of things.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for being here.
Before we close, because some of those examples, I guess the question to that, I did ask that question as to what the cost may be from a perspective of the route and how much that may cost the club. Will that also include the overtime for the police officers? Would that be part of that estimate? Will we have to get that as well? Because that would be information that would need to be provided.
No, yeah, I'll work with Chief on what the overtime cost will be. Because normally we charge that to the event promoter.
Yeah. Okay, so more details on February 7th. Thank you. All right. Next item is to receive an update on the International Town and Gown Association that's thankfully going to be here in Clemson on June 4th through 6th?
6th through the 8th.
6th through 8th, that was 2 days earlier, 6th through 8th, thank you.
So yes, as everyone knows, we'll be hosting the International Town and Gown Conference this year. The last time we hosted was in 2014, and we hosted the inaugural conference, correct? In 2004? It doesn't matter.
I just remember the last one.
We, 4 tracks have been decided upon for the conference, and we're currently seeking proposals for those. The tracks are building community, strengthening, adding, growing opportunities for all members of the community, transforming relationships, change for the better, creating collaborative partnerships to foster economic growth and success of the community, being well, creating a balanced approach to the health, safety, and wellness of our students and community members, and crisis management, summing up our efforts and lessons learned. So we are currently accepting proposals. The call for proposals has gone out, and we're accepting proposals for people who want to come and speak and give presentations on that. The hub of the conference will be at the Hendricks Center. There will be breakout sessions that will be held in the buildings surrounding the Hendricks Center, but it's going to be held on campus. The past 2 times we had it, or at least in 2014, it was at the Madron Center. So the university felt strongly to bring it on campus so that the attendees could experience what Clemson campus feels like. Sunday night is a networking reception. It'll be at Kite Hill Brewing. The axe throwing guys will be out there, and there'll be light hors d'oeuvres. That is a registration event. It's separate from the conference. Monday night, we'll have the formal reception, which will be out at the Snow Outdoor Recreation Center, specifically at the Andy Quattlebaum Outdoor Center. That'll be more of an upscale type reception, and it will be included with your conference registration. They will also be here Tuesday night, and if things go according to plan, we'll be having a outdoor lab on Tuesday night as well. The conference usually brings between 300 and 400 attendees. This will be the first conference, hopefully, knock on wood, in person. The past 2 years, 2 years has been virtual. So we're not really exactly sure what the numbers will be, but I think everybody's probably ready to come back and attend in person, so no one's real worried about that. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you for keeping us on track, and go let us know when we need to get even more involved. I know Lindsey, she will make sure. So thank you. Hope the leg's better. All right, next, Andy, you're up to select council members to serve.
I thought it would be good if we had a couple of council members, preferably no more than 3, just for ease of meeting, to be involved in a task force to help us create a diversity, equity, and inclusion commission of council. That would involve community members, subject matter experts, people who can have experience or expertise in this area. And we'll start meeting immediately to form the rest of this group, and then make regular reports back to City Council on progress. So I'm looking for volunteers.
I'll volunteer, Andy.
So I've been,
I do as well, Andy.
you got this, so I'll volunteer.
I think Alicia.
I heard Alicia somewhere.
Yeah, I did. I volunteered.
Sorry, you went away for a minute.
You just got 3 real quickly. Yep, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all for stepping up so quickly. We look forward to the progress. You got Fran, Catherine, and Lisa. So you got, sorry about it. All right.
And your plan for this committee, there's going to be staff, other people out in the world as well. How many people are we thinking total on the committee?
I don't know. As many as the committee feels like it needs to be involved in this. I'm not real sure.
I was just going to say, I'm all for 3 people from
As many as
council,
absolutely
2 or 3 people from
necessary,
council,
not
but don't let it
personal.
be like council heavy. I think it needs to be lots of other people involved.
Well,
in
the
this
3
committee.
council members starting here may not end up being a commission of council. There probably won't be a council member on the commission.
Right.
But to get it started, I'd like to get y'all's input.
Well, we have to determine the scope. I mean, truthfully,
Right.
that's part of the whole gig.
Right,
Yeah.
Good thought.
And I have some ideas of who can serve, because we were that you don't want it to be council heavy, just the committee. But I think we can get some people that represent the community from different stakeholders who would have a good insight.
Great. Well, thank you all again. Next, we'll go into discuss city input in the Pickens County comp plan. It has Art, but I see Todd coming up, so.
I'd like to kind of bring everybody up to speed on this, that the Pickens County comp plan started in February of 20. I was a part of their steering committee, and it was shortly thereafter that COVID hit and kind of derailed a lot of things. That was not on their radar. But over the following 18 months, attended a couple of virtual meetings with the group, and there were a lot of surveys, and as they were gathering input from the county citizenry as well as the steering committee. And then this past December, we had our last meeting. It had been kind of fallow for about 6 months, and was presented with the final draft. And subsequent to that, staff reviewed it, made a few comments and observations, sought some clarification, and shared that with council back in mid-December. After that, Andy recommended, and we in fact held a phone conference with Chris Brink, the Director of Planning for Pickens County, and the staff liaison for this effort for the county. So the planning staff and Andy and I talked to Chris and, again, clarified a few things, got some feedback, and revised our plan or our recommendations, some of our thoughts as it relates to the city of Clemson, and then shared that with council again. The purpose of me being here tonight is to find out how you would like to proceed. I think there's an opportunity for council to gather their thoughts and send to Pickens County some of your concerns or ideas. I heard from Councilmember McGuire over the weekend and have modified the staff recommendations or city recommendations. Again, these are just drafts. Some of them were staff ideas, some came from Andy, and I included the ideas that Fran had. And I will be sending that out to all y'all tonight, or I have a printed copy I can give you. And so I think that council could consider at this point what you want to do with it. Y'all may have had a chance to look at this, and probably the greatest impact would be if a letter came from the council as a body or from the mayor representing the council. And Chris Brink said that if we could have something maybe by the end of the week, that it would give him ample time to put it in the hands of the Planning Commission before they meet on the 27th. And I'd be glad to assist in any way. Again, I'm here to help y'all craft what you want to say. I've shared some thoughts and observations, and with that, we'll just take direction from y'all.
I'll take the lead on this one. I think it's great that we are responding. We saw the draft. We get the opportunity to share our thoughts like Todd has shared, and we've all had the opportunity to review the draft. This is our chance to make sure we're all talking for a whole county, but I wouldn't say don't forget about Clemson, but make sure that we're all represented. And this is, I would like to see it all come from council itself. That's my thoughts, not specifically. I mean, you can say I'm leading, but no, I would like for it to come from council. These are our thoughts on the plan and get it to them. I would personally also like to meet with some of the council members, me personally, but that's me, taking that initiative with everybody's okay to hand deliver this. So that's just me. That's just how I like to operate. But I'll share it. That would be the next steps. But the main goal is to make sure that we're all looking out regionally, throughout the whole county of how we can all be a part of this, because this is our future for not only Clemson, but for the whole county as well and beyond. So this is our chance to speak up. I want to make sure we get a chance to voice our concerns. One example was Fran brought up about, like, did not see CAM even mentioned in the plan itself. And if y'all know, CAM is the only African-American museum in Pickens County. So that was thanks to Angela, Shelby, and also helping from the city of Seneca. They are making sure people are aware of that, and we want to continue to voice that. So that's a prime example of sharing our opinions and our comments. So anyway, I'll stop talking.
I have a question. One of the things I noticed, Todd, is the no mention of limiting access roads on 123 between Clemson and Beasley. I know that as we have conversations about the Grange, and we have other ongoing conversations about traffic, I'm curious how much the county council can manage that versus SCDOT.
It's a good question, Catherine, and it's like with anything with the DOT, it's kind of a relationship. They can influence, they can request, and establish standards. The DOT is generally in support of things that limit traffic congestion, and but it's a balance between that and property rights. And so what happens between here and Easley will, I think as it was put by somebody at Pickens, by Chris, that it would certainly help if it was in the comprehensive plan. Okay. That was something that it would give them something to point to when they went to DOT or when they were talking about development.
Okay. So it's it'd be like a bookmark that, hey, we've mentioned this, we've mentioned
it's a greater opportunity to influence, just like with our comp plan. If it's something that our comp plan says and a development or proposal comes before us, there's greater weight to it, or it has more legs if the comp plan supports it. It doesn't guarantee it, but it helps. And just as a reminder, the meeting on the 27th is the Planning Commission. That Chris is uncertain if at that point that they would vote on it that night. They're kind of prepared to. They've been working with it for a while. After that, there will then be public hearing and votes. And so the 27th isn't the end all, but it'd be a good time if y'all have things you want to have considered to make sure we get it before the Planning Commission before it gets advanced to the council.
Thank you. That just surprised me that it was on there, so I didn't know that relationship.
The reason I put it there, Catherine, was that in earlier conversations, I know back when we first met in 20, that was one of the discussions was about what we're going to do with the whole 123 corridor. And there's obviously the county is seeking out economic development opportunities, and along the 123 corridor lends itself to that. And that, but there's also discussion amongst the 60 or 70 or so participants in the room that day about the potential negative impacts of that economic development boogered up 123, and could there be a balance in there? And so I was surprised that it was not in the comp plan. But as Mr. Brinks pointed out, that, and you will see in the comp plan, that a great deal of the discussion is related to traffic corridors focused on Highway 11. And as a tourist opportunity, and also not wanting to mess that up. And Robert, I'd be glad to assist in any way or get out of the way at this point. If you would like
have the
me to help.
recommendation at the bottom, the last paragraph, is everybody, and Alicia, I'm sorry that you do not have this, but I know you sent it, you haven't sent this.
I have not sent that out to everybody
So
yet.
we'll send this out to her, you'll send this out to her, but, yeah. Technology, we could just, I could scan it real quickly. But you see the last paragraph, but it says from Alicia, I would say from our city council, I'd be more than happy to sign it and deliver it, however y'all want me to do it. Is that okay direction-wise? So that's what we just want consensus and make sure we're moving in the right direction.
So to be clear, if y'all are, I will wait for word from you, Mayor, that this is the content that we want, and once it's there, then I can draft something in a format and send it to you where you can put it on your letterhead and sign it, and it can come representing council.
Well, we'll send it to all city council, and everybody reviews it, and then we'll send it back. But just remember, it's a time-sensitive aspect. We want to have it here in time by the end of this week.
That's what
So
was
it's tough.
recommended.
I to make sure over the next 48 hours that everybody has a chance. You'll send this out again. Please review it. If you feel good with this direction, we'll work with Todd and Andy, obviously, to get it by this Friday. Does that work for everybody? I'm just trying to get it
Todd,
consistent. Head nods.
Sorry.
Okay.
I agree with you about the survey results. I mean, 70 out of 120,000 is just, that's not even a survey result.
And that was a comment that Fran brought out.
Yeah.
That and it's a good one. And Fran, look over. I paraphrase some of what you had recommended, and so just this is your document, your letter, your verbiage.
All right. I think we have our to-do list, and thank you for sending that out tonight so everybody can look at it, or tomorrow morning. All right, staff reports, Andy.
So far, we have almost completely caught up on all of the Monday and Tuesday recycling. Well, Monday and Tuesday recycling is on schedule now. We finished that today. We've had a couple of stubborn roads at the end of today for sanitation, but I've heard now that Freedom has been salted and plowed, so we can go over there and finish up sanitation over there. So we should be back on schedule by the end of the day tomorrow. It should be noted that Your Pie downtown delivered in a four-wheel drive vehicle food to public works people. We were in a position where we weren't able to go pick it up, and they said, no problem, we'll bring it out to you. So they went above and beyond, and Cody wanted me to let y'all know that he wanted to give thanks to Your Pie for doing that. There's a broadband meeting set up for the 26th at noon. Catherine sent you an invitation to that meeting. Feel free to attend. Lindsey and, not Lindsey, Allie and I will be at the City County Managers Association meeting later this week. And the testing site tomorrow is going to open at 9 a.m. And if they have the resources available, they're going to stay open past 11. And I'm working with Dr. Swan and Chief Campos to address this traffic issue we have out there so we can keep it open as long as possible. Make sure we get that traffic flow set up the right way from the very beginning.
But now, has the word gotten out about now that you have to either have contact or symptoms?
We've put that on the website, and I have new signs made that were put out. Okay. I dropped the signs off on the 10 over the weekend.
Well, I think you need to keep putting out, because I know a lot of people just go weekly just to go.
Right. There's a lot of that. But I think right now what they've also been alluding to, this text group I have with the Remedy people out there at the site, they're saying that they were concerned at one point about people using it for screening and things, but the results that are coming back, they said it's just so rampant. There's just so many people with it or in contact that they no longer really think that's what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. And next we'll go into policy action agenda items. The public can call 653-9886, 2-minute limit per speaker. The first item is consider first reading of ordinance to amend the city code for the payment period in section 1283 hospitality fee payment and collection, in section 1287 hospitality tax payment and collection, and section 1244. Gosh, I would never remember all these sections. Local accommodations tax and collections. And Leslie is not here, but I think
Leslie's not here, so I'll take it for her. Okay. What this does is amends the ordinance, so we still have the 2% incentive to get your payment in before the 20th, but now we're not going to assess the 5% penalty unless you're beyond the 30th of the month, where it was right after the 20th. Right. So you were late before you were late. So we feel like
We
this is.
either discounted or penalized.
Right.
Right, we either discount or penalize, so this way we kept some discount in there, but we, at the end of the month.
Great approach.
Penalized.
Great approach.
And it's worded this way because you've got the hospitality tax and the fee, and the accommodations tax is going to be a separate ordinance.
Perfect. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Consider first reading of an ordinance to amend city code for the payment period in section 12-83 hospitality fee payment and collection, section 12-87 hospitality tax payment and collection, and section 1244 local accommodations tax and collections as presented.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Lowell, you got it? I see.
Tell her she can actually raise her hand if she wants, physically raise it.
There we go.
All right, physically. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you all very much. All right, other policy items. Tracy, you're going to consider approval of the updated transit, drug, and alcohol policy.
Yes, last year we went through a drug and alcohol audit with the Federal Transit Administration, and each year when they do this every 3 to 5 years. And when they do this, of course, anything that is changed per the regulation, we have to update with our policy. And they do request that it go before council for your approval as well. So that's what you have in front of you. The major things updated is we had to include the hours that we have to stop requiring specific, either a drug screen or breath alcohol. If it cannot be obtained within a certain number of hours, you have to cease the attempts and document it. So that's the biggest changes to the policy. And that's it. Any questions?
Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the updated transit, drug, and alcohol policy as presented.
Second.
Second from John and Fran. Beverly, you get to pick. Any further discussion? All right, if not, all in favor, raise your right hand. There we go. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Stan. That was worth
She was doing other work and then she came in. I saw her. So.
She was watching.
Next is mayor council reports, comments, new business. I just have a couple things. We've said it. Public works. I mean, you can name it. The police department, utilities, everybody. I mean, I know I'm missing folks, but everybody within the city, kudos. It was tremendous to see. We all got to see it firsthand. A lot of us were in our houses, but when we went out and we were safely going out, we saw them on the roads, clearing the roads, spraying the roads. Our police department, I was blessed. I got to ride along for an hour, which was cool.
Oh, cool.
Chief knows about that, and busted up a few snowball fights. We didn't really bust them up, by the way. Once the police car came up, then they dispersed. But anyway, with that said, we can't thank you enough. And I'm looking at the chief, looking at our fellow police officer right there in the back. Yes, sir. We greatly appreciated everything the public works, and like Cody said, you know, he was commending your pub. We should be commending him, and utilities, Benji, and everyone else. So wanted to make sure I said that. And the other thing is to let you know that I got a call from Joe from our local post office today, and Karen is back to work. This was her first day back, and we're going to put it on the rolling board just to let people know the community was so thankful and stepped up to help her out. We're so thankful for it, I should say, and I know she is especially, and it's just great that she's back to work. Joe wanted to let everybody know, which we greatly appreciate. So just FYI, if you see her, welcome her back. So it's great. It's been a long road, but I'm glad she's back. So those are my two. Yes, Frank.
Just quickly, so the next conversation with council is on January 27th at 5:30 in the Ollie Building in Patrick Square. That's right, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, and we can all be there. Based on what Beverly said, it doesn't have to be limited to 3. I'll make an announcement on whatever vehicles I can and spread the word, and we'll update. And we've already updated the report cards from all the other meetings.
Yes.
So that's good.
I believe they've already been updated.
Yeah. Okay. So just urge people to go. Since it's in the Ollie building, masks will be required. I probably want to make sure people know that.
very much, Orlando. Any other? Lowell? No. Yes, Alicia, sorry.
That's okay. As we celebrate Martin Luther King, the community service that's going on at Clemson, it's Black History Month, will be coming up. And as we started last year with our Black History Month community service proclamations, I would begin that process as well, so that we could recognize the honorees at our first meeting in February. And I'd like to work with Andy if someone could help develop a form for individuals to fill out that would like to nominate individuals in the community to receive that award. That would be extremely helpful, because I would like to go ahead and start requesting that information. I do have 2 names already. Thank you, Robert. But if there are others who would like to start nominating people for that, I'd like to get that information. So if someone that could help us develop a form for people to fill out, that would be great, so that we can get more input from the community this year.
All right. Thank you for reporting that, Andy. I know I saw you writing it down. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments, new business? If not, before our next item is the executive session, discuss a personnel review and new hire South Carolina codes, section 3470, discussion of employment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Make a move, we go into executive session.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Please do.
Alicia. Calling Alicia.
Yes. Uh-huh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good to go.
Okay.
All right. Would somebody like to make a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. I don't see, there we go. All right, perfect. Before we go with your announcement, I was remiss in comments. Our fire department and joint fire department, Clemson University, and please be keeping the family on Manly with our thoughts and prayers and everything that they're going through and what they did for us as well. So I just want to make sure I share that. John.
All right, thank you. I'd like to make a nomination that we accept Administrator Blondo's recommendation that we hire Cody Lingenfeld as the Director of Public Works. And I would just like to add, I got to see those guys in action this past Sunday as well. There was a tree across East Louis, and I mean, they were there cleaning it up in no time. So anyway, that's my motion.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Hey, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand.